today. I'm Sharon Stiles, and I'm going to share some of the techniques that my clients have found helpful in reducing their anxiety. And I hope that you will find them helpful too. A pen and paper will probably be useful so that you can make some notes as we go along. Alternatively, this webinar will be available for the rest of the week, so you can watch it again. You can also find the techniques I'm going to cover today and more in my Get Rid of Anxiety download and ebook. If you're watching this, I'm guessing that you're familiar with anxiety and know what it feels like. Now, anxiety is a natural state, and it would be unrealistic and dangerous if you never worried about anything. It's anxiety that makes you aware of the things that keep you safe. For instance, it's anxiety that makes you cautious when you cross the road, that makes you check that you've turned the gas off, or that makes you think carefully about what you say to people. If you didn't have any anxiety, then you just walk out in front of cars, or you let the room fill up with gas, both of them potentially fatal. If you don't worry about what you say to people, then you might upset them, which wouldn't do much for your relationship with them, and could hurt you emotionally and socially. So some anxiety is helpful, but if you have too much of it, you spend your whole time living in the past, worrying about what you've done, or in the future, worrying about what could happen. So I'm going to explain some ways that you could learn from the past, but not be tied down by it, and also be less anxious by spending more time enjoying the present, so that when you get to the future, you feel comfortable. Now, some of the techniques might take a little while before you recognise the change, but they're all ones that you can do as part of your everyday life. So they should be easy to fit in. And it's important to keep checking in with how you feel as well. Don't just expect to feel how you've always felt. Look for a change. So, let's get started. Is there something that's worrying you right now? It could be anxiety about something you have to do or something that you've done. It could be anxiety about someone you've got to talk to or something that you said. Spend some time thinking about that. It might be right up front in your mind, and it seems to be all you can think about. Or you might have tried putting it to the back of your mind because you want to pretend it's not going to happen. There might be more than one thing you're anxious about, but for the moment, choose the one that you're most worried about. And you can work on the others in the same way later. So think about what is causing that anxiety. What is it you're actually concerned about? And now, think about your best friend telling you how anxious they are about that same thing. What would you say to your best friend in this situation? What would you say to them if they came to you and told them how anxious they feel? I found that most people are far more forgiving of friends than they are of themselves. You're more likely to think that what your friend has said or done is perfectly understandable, perfectly natural and acceptable. And you might even wonder why they seem so worried about it. I've also found that people can give extremely good advice to other people, but they don't give it to themselves. For instance, one of my clients was worried that sometimes she didn't spend as much time explaining things to her co-workers as she thought she should. And when I asked her what she would think if she was one of the other people in the office, she said she wouldn't even think about it because she knew it was busy and that if she needed to know something, she would just ask. And another client got frustrated when things weren't moving as quickly as he wanted them to, and he just felt like giving up. I asked him what he would say to a friend in this situation, and he said that he would tell them that it's doing the small things every day that makes the big changes. And he then laughed because he said he regularly tells people that when they're struggling and don't feel that they're getting anywhere. So it's important that you think of yourself as your best friend. After all, you spend 24 hours a day with yourself. You know yourself better than anyone. And you know your limitations, and you know your strengths. Although you might rate your limitations as more limiting than they actually are, and your strengths as weaker than they actually are. So it's time to become more realistic about both of them. You can forgive yourself a few mistakes. After all, you'd probably forgive them in other people. And often those mistakes aren't actually as bad as you think they are. You can also take time to look at the situation later, to think about what you could do differently in the future, and then do that next time. Those experiences enable you to learn and continually improve. Time after time, I meet people who beat themselves up about decisions they made or things they did in the past. But when they think about it as if it was someone else who did those things or made those decisions, they can accept them. So if you're giving yourself a hard time in the future, ask yourself, what would I say to my friend? Now, a very small change can often make a noticeable difference, as my client earlier had found out. One of those changes is the position of your eyes, because this can actually affect your mood. People usually look down when they think about unpleasant or worrying things. But when you look up, you tend to feel more positive. Lift your eyes, lift your mood. And the reason is because when you look up, you're actually allowing more oxygen to go up into your brain. So you tend to be able to think more clearly. You're also using different neural pathways in your brain. So the connections that you make when you think about things, you're more likely to think about them in a different way. So if you tend to look down quite a lot and it feels odd to look up, then I would recommend making a decision to look up more. And a simple way to do this is to stick some post-it notes up around your home and put them slightly above eye level. Then they should catch your attention, so you naturally look up. Or you could take a few moments a couple of times a day to look out of the window and count 10 birds flying past. Unless you live a long way up, you'll have to look up to see the birds flying. And then your eyes will get more used to looking up, and you should find that you just do it more naturally. Now, at the beginning, I said that if you have too much anxiety, you spend your whole time living in the past, worrying about what you've done, or in the future, worrying about what could happen. So it's important to recognise when things are different and realise that the past doesn't always have to be the same as the present. Most anxieties start because of a bad experience that's then reinforced by more bad experiences. Or it could be a belief that the experience will be bad because of things you've heard or similar situations you've been in. Often the original bad experience was because you were thrown into a situation that you didn't know how to deal with, or you weren't expecting, or you were badly prepared. You probably felt fear or embarrassment, and so that experience made a huge impression on you. Then the next time you know you're going to be in a similar situation, you remember the first one, and you remember how bad it was. And you then keep repeating it over and over. Now, your mind can't really tell the difference between the real experience and a remembered one. So the more you think about it, the more times you live through it. And in this case, the worse it seems. So if you want to reduce your anxiety, you need to do things slightly different. First of all, recognise that you now have different resources. So if that situation had happened with what you know now, it wouldn't happen in the same way. You know what went wrong the first time. So think about what you would have done differently. Maybe you'd have asked for help, done more preparation, or changed the way that you did things. So think back to that original situation and add in any new abilities and understanding. And what's different now? Have you prepared more beforehand? Have you acted in a different way? Said something differently? Done something differently? Do you have someone there who can help you? Are you more emotionally prepared for it? Notice how things happen differently, and notice how different you feel. And remember to look up as you do that, and use that more positive part of your mind. And now, play that situation through again with all those new ways of doing things. Think about what you're doing, what you're saying, and how it feels. And just really live it in that more positive way of doing it. And then do the same thing again. Make it really strong. Hear yourself, see yourself, and feel what it's like when things go so much better. And then do the same thing again. Play it over in your mind again with everything working well. You feeling comfortable in the situation. After all, you made the original anxiety stronger by repeatedly thinking about things going badly. And you're now going to reduce your anxiety by repeatedly thinking about things going well. And the more you think about things going well, the easier they get. That's one of the principles of hypnosis, repeating things in a way that your mind can accept, so that they become more real and more comfortable. And if you felt anxious for a long time, then you've been hypnotizing yourself in a negative way for a long time. So now you can carry on hypnotizing yourself, but giving yourself positive suggestions. Before, your mind didn't know how to respond in a positive situation because you never let it experience it. But now tell it what to do and remind it what to do. So later on, and tomorrow, and the next day, and the next, visualize that positive outcome until it feels real and feels comfortable. Teach your mind what to do and then remind it until it becomes completely natural. I'm going to finish this session by teaching you a technique that I teach to virtually every client I see, because I think it's the most versatile self-help technique that you can have. It's called EFT. It stands for Emotional Freedom Technique, and it uses acupressure and mental focus to clear unwanted emotions out of your system. I'm going to talk you through it, and I'd like you to actually follow along with me. Now, it might seem strange to start off with, but most people do find that it helps to reduce anxiety. So try this now and notice what difference it makes for you. If you are interested in finding out more, then there are plenty of websites that describe it. Now, there might be some differences in the way people do it, but I'm going to teach you the version that I found generally most effective for anxiety. Now, just now I was talking about positive thinking and visualization, and I am a big fan of positive thinking. But sometimes, however much you'd like to think positively, you just really don't believe what you're telling yourself. And in that state, it's not really positive thinking, it's actually wishful thinking. Wishful thinking just makes things seem even more hopeless and increases your anxiety. So we're going to use reality thinking here. Forget negative thoughts, forget positive ones, just focus on your reality. And that reality should naturally change into a more positive. So I'd like you to think about something that makes you anxious. It might be the same thing you've been thinking about all the way through, or it might be something different. If you still have some anxiety over what you were thinking about earlier, then it would be a good idea to actually stay with that. So, is it something that you're not looking forward to, or something that's happened and you have bad feelings about? If you can think of several things, then think of the one that you feel most anxious. You might get a physical feeling when you think about it, maybe in your stomach, or your chest, or your throat. Or you might get a picture in your mind when you think about it. I want you to focus on that while we go through the whole sequence. And you start off by rubbing on the top of your chest. It's over the top rib, which is about a hand's width down from the collarbone. And rub gently, don't dig in too hard. You shouldn't feel the skin moving under your fingers. And as you do that, I'd like you to say out loud, even though I feel anxious, I deeply and completely accept myself. Now, saying that you accept yourself doesn't mean that you feel happy with the situation. It just means that you acknowledge that things are that way at the moment. So, rub gently. Even though I feel anxious, I deeply and completely accept myself. And again, even though I feel anxious, I deeply and completely accept myself. And a third time. Even though I feel anxious, I deeply and completely accept myself. Now we're going to move around the rest of the points. I might have to shift around a little bit here so that you can actually see them. But you start off on your eyebrow. And you can use any finger, or more than one finger, it doesn't matter. And it's just where the eyebrow meets the nose. And think about what's making you anxious and how you feel about it. Rub gently. Remember, hardly touching the skin at all. And then take a breath. Now follow your eye socket round to the side of your eye and rub there. Think about what's making you anxious. And maybe it's the feeling that you've got in your body, or maybe it's a picture. And take a breath. Now go round the eye socket to the underneath your eye. Focus on how you feel and take a breath. Think about how you feel, or focus on the picture that you've got in your mind. Now you come down to underneath your nose and just rub gently. Take a breath as you think about how you feel. Then you come down to the chin, just underneath the bottom lip. Take a deep breath and focus on how you feel, or focus on the picture. Then we come down to the collarbone. That's just that little dip on the bottom of your neck. There should be 2 bones either side. And just rub very gently, take a deep breath, focus on how you feel, or focus on the picture in your mind. Then we come to underneath the arm. So it's on the side of your body, and it's just there. It's about, if you put your hand up with the thumb underneath your armpit, it'll be about where the little finger falls, which is probably in line with the nipple. If you use all your fingers, you're going to hit the point. And rub gently, take a deep breath, and focus on that anxious feeling. And then come round and do the other side, exactly the same, on the side of the arm, deep breath, and focus on that feeling, or the picture in your mind. Then we come down to the hands. So if I can get my hand in here, what you're going to do is you're just going to rub gently either side of the base of the nail on your thumb. And think about how you feel. Focus on the feeling, or focus on the picture that sums up your anxiety. You're now going to do that on each finger on that hand. So again, coming round to the index finger, the base of the nail, deep breath, focus on the feeling, focus on the picture. And the next finger, deep breath, focus on the feeling, focus on the picture. The next finger, deep breath, really focus on how you feel. And the little finger, deep breath, and focus on how you feel. And we finish on what's called the gamut point. And to find that point, you put your hand in a fist, and then it will be just where there's a little dip between the little finger and the ring finger, just below the knuckle. And you just rub very gently there. You don't have to keep your hand in the fist, it's just easiest to describe where the actual point is. And while you're rubbing, take a breath and think about how you feel now. You still feel the same about the situation as when we started? Or has there been a change? Take another breath, still rubbing, still thinking about how you feel. Forget how you felt at the beginning, forget how you've always felt about it, forget how you expect to feel about it in the future. How do you feel about it right now? And another breath. So you're going to do 3 breaths while you're thinking. And that's a complete round of that. So I hope your anxiety is reduced to some degree now. If not, then don't worry. It can sometimes take a few rounds to make a change. So we'll go around again and see what happens next. And remember to focus on how you actually feel, not how you expect to feel, not how you felt at the beginning, but how you feel right now. So if how you feel has changed, don't go back to how you felt originally, focus on how you feel now. Now obviously I haven't got any feedback from you here, but do feel free to email me and let me know how you get on, or if you have any questions. So let's go around again. Just on the eyebrow, deep breath, focus on how you feel now. Side of you. Deep breath. Focus on how you feel. Underneath your eye. Deep breath. Focus on how you feel. Underneath your nose. Deep breath. Focus on how you feel. On your chin. Deep breath. Focus on how you feel. The collarbone. Deep breath. Focus on how you feel. Underneath your arm. Deep breath. Focus on how you feel. And the other side. Take a breath and focus on how you feel. And then come down to the hands. So starting on the thumb, deep breath to just rub either side of the face. And then the index finger, deep breath. Just work your way each finger. Just focusing on how you feel physically, or if there's a picture in your mind, focus on that. And the final finger. And then to the gamut point, remember it's just behind the knuckle between the little finger and the ring finger, rubbing gently, and take 3 deep breaths. Your eyes up, thinking, how do I feel right now? How do I feel right now at that situation? And that's it. Now, if you haven't noticed a difference, then you might not be specific enough, or you might be trying to focus on how you think you should feel, or not on how you actually feel. Or it might simply be because we haven't done enough rounds yet. So I'm hoping that you have got a difference from that. But like I said, if you haven't actually got a difference, then there are several reasons for it. Now, I'd recommend using EFT regularly to keep control of your anxiety. Use it at the beginning of the day. It's a great time to use it. You can do it before you even get out of bed. You think about something that's going to happen during the day that you're anxious about. And then if you get any anxiety during the day, you can also do it then as well. And if you feel stressed out at the end of the day, use it on the stress that you feel then and the specific things that have caused you stress. It's important to use it regularly to keep anxiety and stress down, because then you should find that your anxiety levels come down generally, so you don't then tend to be affected by things as much. Think of it a bit like an emotional vacuum cleaner. You can do a regular vacuum to keep the floor clean, but if you spill something on it, then you'll probably vacuum it up straight away. Now, even if you don't do that in your own house, your mind will feel a lot better for it if you do it that way. And one extra point that isn't in the basic sequence is one that can also be very effective if you feel completely overwhelmed. It's on the inside of your wrist. Just get that there. So inside of your wrist, just where a wrist spot should be. I'm afraid the sun's come out a little bit here, so I've gone a bit bright. I hope you can see it. So if you're having a panic attack or you do feel completely overwhelmed, then just use this point on its own. Just rub very gently on the inside of your wrist and just focus on that feeling itself. Don't think about anything else at all. Just focus on what it feels like to rub on that. And then once you actually feel a little bit calmer, you can then do the whole EFT sequence as many times as you want to. Or you could just simply use that wrist point on its own if you feel that's enough. It's nice and discreet and it's easy to do. So that's the end of this webinar. What I've shared today and even more is in my Get Rid of Anxiety download and ebook. It's only £10. You can get it on my website at sharonstiles.co.uk. If you prefer a personal session, because you'd like even more techniques, or you don't feel able to do it on your own because your anxiety feels too strong or overwhelming, then I do webcam sessions. So I can work with anyone, anywhere, as long as you've got a good internet connection. If you prefer to see someone in person, then do contact me and I'll see if I know somebody that I can recommend in your area. So to sum up then, remember to ask yourself what you would say to a friend. Treat yourself like your best friend. Tell your mind how well things can go. Rehearse the good things happening in your mind. Lift your eyes and lift your mood. And rub away your anxiety. So I hope you found this helpful. To learn more about the techniques I use, you can sign up for my monthly newsletter at sharonstiles.co.uk/newsletter. And if you have any questions or would like a copy of the EFT instructions, then again, please do email me. My contact details are on my website. So thank you for joining me, and I hope that your anxiety gets less and less every day.